Welcome back, everyone, to Born to Be Rich podcast. I am your host, Judy King, and today we have a beautiful friend of mine who is coming on as a guest and has been a mentor of mine as well, Miranda Marriott. Welcome.
Thanks, Son. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you on Judy's podcast. Very excited to join
This
you.
is this is take two for us. Miranda originally was my very first guest, and we had some tech issues, so we decided to just start all over again, and it's been a few weeks or more. But I'm excited that we're able to do this again because last time was extraordinary, and I know this one's gonna probably go even deeper and be even juicier. It always is divine, right? Like why these things don't work out.
100%. Just our warm up, warm up to the big thing.
Exactly, exactly. So, can you share a little bit about who Miranda Marriott is, what you've been through, a little bit of your backstory, and what you do?
It's always so interesting, isn't it? It's like, give me the 2 minute, the 5 minute of your life. It's like, okay. I guess who am I? Miranda really is what I feel like my purpose is, what I feel I'm here to learn and create and teach is like, I'm an alchemist and alchemy, magician, creator, and I think we all are, but I feel like really called to bring that out in the world and bring that out for people. And I guess what that means is that I've had my fair share of battles in my life. I've had my fair share of struggles and of toxicity and of negative experiences and creations, and I've learned from that how to bring the light about and bring my dreams and not live my nightmares, because I've done that, but how to then alchemize it and bring into my dreams and my actual dreams into reality, not my nightmares. So for the first sort of, I would say, 33 years of my life, I was living my nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, really. I grew up struggling with, as a teen, and things like, I mean, as a young child, like struggling with lack, money, scarcity, like that sort of stuff was in my family. And but also like lots of mental health struggles with anxiety and depression, and like my whole family history was littered with just different mental health challenges. I struggled with my body image, eating disorders, like I had relationship dramas, and always was looking for love, but often finding I got, a lack of it, and an abandonment. And so it was sort of like in every area of my life, like I just felt like I struggled. And it wasn't like I was just giving up and not trying. I tried everything to fix myself and to fix my life. I learned about personal development and wanted to be a life coach when I was 16 years old. And I think so much of it was like, it is a true calling in my life, but also it was a reaction to like how much struggle I had, and it felt like I just wanted to figure out the quest of life and figure out the quest of transformation, and how do I figure out change. And so I studied psychology for 8 years at uni. I studied PT to become the most healthiest version of myself. Like, it's like I dove into everything I could, put any amount of money and time and effort that I could to run away from my past, to create my dream, to stop having the nightmares. But, at 30 years old, after I'd studied, and been in the well-being space for 16 years, studied at uni for 8 years in psych, and like, all of this health stuff, everything I did, at 30 years old, I'm like, oh, I'm finally figuring it out. Like, I'm figuring out the peak of life. I was about to have my son. I was 6 months pregnant. Had my husband for 10 years, and I had a great job, and I was starting to start my business. And I was like, I figured out life. I finally figured out the quest, of creating success and creating my highest potential. And right at that moment, my husband and I had an issue, and we couldn't work through it. He started cheating, and we couldn't work through it. And we broke up, and my whole life came crashing down, and everything I put my value on, everything I thought I was a success in, smashed into a million pieces at once. I didn't have a job. I was on mat leave, didn't have any money, didn't have a husband. My best friend of 10 years is gone. Like, I was figuring out how to be a single mom before I was a mom. Like, everything was, and I was like, I've just tried all this stuff. I thought I'd figured it out, and then smash, oh, I'm back at square one. I'm failure again. I haven't figured it out. And then 3 years in, I started my business back up again and figured out how to do single mumming and get over a breakup and start a business at once, which is crazy. And again, tried everything I could, got every strategy coach I could, spent all this money, like just trying to figure it out and fix it and force it into success. And by the time I was 33, I got into $20,000 of debt, hadn't broken through in my business, hadn't made a 10K month at all, tried everything they did say, did every sales call, every strategy. And again, it was like, I'm at the brink of like destruction. Like I'm at this really base, horrible place. My nightmare again's happening. What is wrong? And that was at 33. And I was like, there has to be another way. It has to be something else, because I'm not figuring out. I've tried everything and it's not happening. And that's when I uncovered the Superconscious that month. Actually was just at this breaking point, covered the Superconscious, which was a completely different way of being and looking at life and everything. I had my first $20,000 month after that. And this was 4 years ago, like haven't gone back in any of those things ever again. Like my money and abundance just kept growing. My business kept growing. My health kept getting better. The love in my life kept growing. Like, it's not that I haven't struggled, but it was just the pattern shifted. It was this before and after point, and my whole life of struggle and living my nightmare became starting to know how to create my dreams from a really deep energetic place. So that's what I teach now. That's what I do now, is like the deep core work of change and transformation, not trying to just do action, strategy, force, masculine like I was doing before, but how do we actually change sustainably, deeply, for good in every area of life?
Such a powerful story, babe. And it's crazy, right? How we go through and navigate all these lows. And we have so many similarities, right? Our backgrounds. And it's one of the reasons why we're just attracted to each other. We've got so many similarities, and just hearing a story, my story just resonates within that. And I can just really feel all of that, right? It's like, oh, but the beautiful part is these initiations and the invitations that we then get of something falling, like something coming to us. And the super conscious has been such a big game changer for you. I know it's not the only thing, but that has been something. It just gives me goosebumps even just talking about it. And I've loved that work that I've done with you around it as well. Tell us a little bit more about what is the super conscious for someone who doesn't know, and how do you play with that?
Yeah. Well, I guess the first core thing is why it made such a difference for me and changed is that I was coming at my life thinking there was a problem and it needed to be fixed, and I was a problem and I needed to be fixed. So every modality I did, every mentor I got, everything I did was coming from a negative vision, coming from a fear, coming from a problem solving thing. And so then what's the energy? The energy is that there's a problem. So all I did was just create more problems, create more things to be fixed. Like, it just aggravated that, right? The whole thing about the superconscious, which was completely changed my life, is just like, there isn't a problem. You're not a problem. Like, I didn't identify with my ego, my victim, and my unconscious anymore. It's like, there are three elements to us in the consciousness realm. One is our superconscious, which has our highest golden genius, our intuition, our true nature, who we actually are. If you go back in your timeline, you go back to before you were born, you weren't this person struggling in human light. You actually a star. You were we've got stardust in our DNA. We are a part of the universe, the cosmos. Like, that's our true nature, our superconscious, our greatness, our godlikeness. That's really who we are. And then we came and said, I want to have an experience of life. I want to have a human experience of life. I'm going to come down into the form of a human and then that's when our unconscious started to happen. And we started to go like, I need orientation. I need to figure out, who am I? Who's the world? Who are other people? Like, we started to, because if an alien came down to Earth, it need to know what an ice cream is. It's not going to start putting it in its hair, right? It needs to know you got to lick it. And like, we start trying figuring out how the life is here and who am I here? And like, so the unconscious came then. Now, my whole life up until this point, I thought I was my unconscious. I thought I was my personality. I thought I was my problems. Like, that's who I thought I was. And everything I'd studied to that point just told me how to fix my beliefs and how to fix it was just trying to work in that realm, right? One of the first things about the superconscious is like, actually, no, this is an element of me. This is an element of my identity and stuff, but it's not who I truly am. I truly am my superconscious. So the first thing was that I actually stopped identifying so much and giving so much energy to trying to fix me and all my unconscious stuff and change beliefs, because ultimately I can't change my beliefs. Like, they are my orientation. Like, in the navigating of if you're in a boat, the stars are fixed for navigation. They need to be fixed. They can't keep moving all the time, or the navigators can't figure out how to go anywhere, right? Like, our beliefs are there, and I don't need to actually change them. I just need to be aware of them. And so I actually started approaching change so much differently, which was firstly just, I need to be aware of my unconscious. I need to be aware of my beliefs. I need to be aware of this stuff. But then I'm going to actually go back into my power, back into my true version of who I am, back into like my real vision of who I am, put more energy into that. So my life completely changed in that 1 month because I didn't put all my energy into fixing and figuring out. I started putting more energy into like my true identity, my power, my worth, like my unconditional value, like, and that changed my life. I just put my energy slightly differently, you know? So yeah, that was, I guess, if I'm going to summarize like the superconscious, like that's the first thing that's really vital and important about what the superconscious is. And I started using my intuition to live my life and get direction and get nudges, you know, and know how to call upon it more regularly, because we all are very intuitive. We just don't trust it because at school and everything, it's taught us not to, right? It's taught us that, no, you need to read the book and there has to be a right answer. And like, so I just went back to like coming back to my roots, coming back to my intuition, you know?
Yeah, and it's not something that we're taught. It's not something that we're supported to nourish or supported to tap into, is it?
Ah.
Since we're children, it's just not a thing that's discussed or yeah.
Well, the thing about our genius and intuition is that it's uniquely creative, right? And we all have our own unique creative genius that mine and yours is not the same. And, you know, none of us are. We have our own unique flavor. And the way that the world's set up and the patriarchy, and like, it doesn't want uniqueness. It wants to just recreate, you know, people who work
Yeah.
and follow the rules, and, you know, like, so it's trying to take that out of us. But that is actually where our power is, our creative genius. If you look at anyone who's millionaires, billionaires, the famous people, whatever, what are they? They're in their highest creative frequency. They're being themselves, the Beyonce of the world, right? The Steve Jobs, whatever. They are in their own genius and their creativity. And that's why they're well rewarded in life and like have abundance and whatever. The person who's mimicking Beyonce and just trying to dress up like her, they're not getting paid anywhere near, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, the superconscious ultimately is like, how do we tap into our own unique creative genius, our true nature and purpose, and how do we live our life from that? Because to me, success is actually me being my true nature and my dreams being reality. Like, that's success. And my dreams and true nature are different to yours. So success will look different to each of us, you know? So that's what the superconscious is like, how can you create the life of your dreams? By tapping into just your truth of who you really are, your highest power. You know, if you've ever seen the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper, like, I say to my clients all the time, like, that's what it is. Like, but we don't have a pill. Like, we tap into the superconscious inside of us, you know, and there's all this limitless potential in us that we're not knowing how to tap into. And as soon as we do, we just create a life of gold. We create a life of abundance. We create everything we want, you know, and more.
Yeah, I love that. And like, this is why I also love human design, because I feel like, because it's really looking at, and gene keys as well, it looks at how ours, it's the science of differentiation. So it's the same, it's the same message, just we look at it through a different lens, right? Like, it's what's unique about me, and that we're all coded with these different gates and gene keys that are what differentiates us from each individual person. And so when it comes to kind of really tapping into the super conscious or into your higher self, into your intuition, like, one of the biggest challenges, I'm guessing, and I'm going to actually come back around to another point that you mentioned earlier, but right now, um, is it sounds like what you're talking about, what we really need to do is learn how to get out of our own way, get out of the meaning that we give everything, and learn how to connect more into our intuition, maybe
Yeah.
in more intentionally.
Mm.
And you're talking also about, creating the vision of what it is that you want, and being able to hold that vision and being able to move forward towards that. So that is probably the hardest work for people. Is that what your experience has been, or not?
There's three areas, like, and I've talked to you about this, but three areas of alchemy, three areas of your superconscious, and everyone will get stuck on one or two or three of them, like, so it's actually often quite unique into what area we get stuck on. So the first area is the Negredo, it's truth, so that is the awareness of our ego, the awareness of our unconscious. So say you want to go create a launch of this offer. You want to go have a 100K launch by this mastermind you're going to create, or like retreat or membership, whatever it is, right? Let's just use this example. Like, as soon as you decide, I want to go have 10 people in my mastermind and I want to have a 100K launch, your ego is going to come up and say, Judy, you can't do that because you're not ready with this. You don't have enough of that. You haven't got enough following. You're not, perfect enough. You don't look good enough. You don't have the Instagram model thing happening. You got more followers. Like, people will tell you all this shit, right? It's like, you can't have this because blah, blah, blah. So it will say, you got to go become an Insta model. You got to go, learn this modality. You got to whatever. Then you'll be whatever. So it sends us on this wild goose chase, right? And it also says, like, you've got to show up and talk about this. And like, it says that you can't be authentic, Judy. You can't be your true nature. You got to go do and then, and it also says, but don't also go for it because it's going to be hard and bad. And then when you get it, it's going to be ruthless and people are going to judge you and hate you. And it just is like negative Nancy, negative vision all over the place, right? It's just got this pessimistic negativity, like, and hard work, and like send you on the goose chase, doesn't want you going for it because it's just dangerous. It thinks it's not safe. It thinks you're going to get hurt and whatever, right? So the first thing is truth. And you need to then go, okay, I see where my ego is saying this. I see where it's doing this. I see the pattern of this. See how it's trying to compare this and make me not enough, but whatever, right? It's just turning on the awareness, getting conscious of what the unconscious is trying to do, right? Now, people have two problems here. One is they will deny the truth and go, nah, she's right. Now, and they'll just try and sugarcoat everything. No, I got to be high vibe, and so that's one thing. And then you're leaking all this energy to the unconscious and you don't even know it, right? Because the fact is, like, people go, I'm going to be high vibe. It's like, well, you're deeply scared. And it doesn't matter how high vibe you try to pretend, it's there. You can't hide it,
Yeah, it's just an undercurrent that's playing out. It's
the more you try to hide it, the more power it gets, So one problem is people deny the truth and they deny their unconscious. And so all this power leaks and they don't even know it. The second problem is people get stuck here. They swamp here. They believe all the bullshit. They go, man, my life's so hard, bad, and they just, all the power is sitting here trying to fix all of this stuff. And it's just swamp. I call it swampland. Like, they just get stuck in the swamp and they don't leave. And I find often for me, when I was in the embodiment world, like, I just felt all the time and did all this stuff all the time. And I just wouldn't go anywhere from there. I just was stuck in the swamp, So
yeah, I felt the same thing too. And I did like a whole 6-month somatic journey, and I love somatics and I think it's helpful. But it was like continuously going in and trying to find the thing and into the pain. It's like, that just doesn't feel right,
And you're not creating. Like, we're born to be creators. We're born to have momentum and movement, and we're not born to just sit there sifting through crap all the time. Like, we're not swamp people, right? But that's the two extremes of the problem in this. And so if we don't go to the next phase, like, or we try and bypass it quick, like, that's where the issue is. The next issue is in the love space, which is albedo. Now, in love and albedo, this is where we go, the first step's like, okay, let's just be aware of the truth. Let's see, like, so for instance, my Bali retreat that you came on, I was trying to launch it and I was trying to get it going. But the truth was, I was really worried about my reputation and my image. I was worried no one would come. And then everyone would be looking and going, oh, Miranda Marriott's business sucks. Like, she can't even get this Bali thing. One person's coming or none, or like, that's what I was really worried about. And so didn't matter what I tried to do, didn't matter how much money I put into ads, didn't matter if that had the energy, I couldn't create. Nothing was happening. No one was signing up. Like, it was just dead in the water. Like, it was stuck, right? So what I had to do is be aware and go, I see my ego's obsessed with my image and I'm scared about my image and I'm scared of how I'm going to look. And like, I see it and I'm worried about it. And I see the option that could happen. Like, but like, I'm going to still go for it anyway. Like, I see that. I hear you, ego. I hear all this, but I still want this because, so then we go into the love realm. Now, the love realm is like, I want this because I want to connect with women. I want to transform them and travel. I want, like, what's my soul want this for? What's love want this for? What's not to try and look good, not for all the other bullshit. What's the true love here? What's the real heart stuff here, right? And when I started connecting more to that, Bali started to happen. More people signed up. More, I put the power out of there, put it into what I really wanted, who I truly was, like, saw myself as who I was. And then that started to flow. The problem here is two things. Again, one is that people don't connect to what their heart really wants. They don't believe they're worthy of it. Like, they don't spend enough time in their power, in their superconscious. Like, the other one, though, is that people are flying high off in the nether leather world, off in the ether, like meditate, oh, well, I'm so amazing, but they're not doing the other work, or they're not moving with it. And so they're just sitting there meditating off in the ether, but never moving anywhere else, you know? So that's an issue. Now, the last step, what then created and what creates is then follow through, action, rubedo, which is the wisdom piece. Because you can do all the truth stuff you want, be all self-aware, and you can be off in the ether and all meditating and like see your power. But if you don't actually do anything and do any action and follow through, it doesn't matter. It's all just an idea and just vapor, right? So a lot of people here do one of two things. Either they don't do any action and they don't take any follow through, and they just sit there in their little inner world all the time and be safe there but not moving. Or they try and action way too much, force, and they don't do the other stuff, you know? So with Bali, like, once I was like, okay, here's my fear. This is what I really want. What's obvious for me to create it? Like, oh, I'll reach out to this person. I'll put that post out. I'll actually put this ad out, and I'm going to put a little snippet of Bali in it. Whatever was true. By every launch I do, it's different what the nudge is, you know? But I just had to keep doing those 3 steps, keep showing like what's the truth, what's the fear, what would I love, and then how, you know, what's next for that, what's obvious, what's coming up for me to show me what's the movement with that, you know? And if we follow those steps, like, we create whatever we want. But if we get stuck in any of them, or we obsess with one and not the others, like, that's where the issues happen. Yeah.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I think just everyone being able to hear that is so much power and wisdom in that awareness. And I'm sure everyone who's listening will be able to identify where they're playing out in each of those areas. I know for me, I definitely can. I'm curious for you, like, what's the go-to, the fallback? Like, what have you had to navigate personally as you've continued to do that work? And
I often find that I can do any, fall into any of them, you know. In the past, like, my background, like, I was very much in my masculine, very much in the force do. So my typical, if I'm stressed or trying to do it, like, I'll just go straight to action mode and straight to like bring it all out, force it all, you know. But then because of a reaction to that, I'll go, oh shit, no, like, and then I've had seasons where I was deep in the, I see that all the worlds like that I'm in actually fall into either. So when I was in all the masculine strategy, you know, money, business, whatever, I was all in follow through and action, but not doing the other two. And then I was like, shit, that, you know, that's bad. You know, so then I went into the embodiment world and I was like, oh, I'll feel and I'll release and I'll whatever. But then I was like offline, not doing any actions and like, you know, and just like lost in this swamp, you know. And then I was like, oh shit, like, let's not do that. Then I went to the consciousness world. I'm like, oh, I'll bet like my power, my super conscious, you know, but I was denying the other stuff. So it's like, I think I went into all camps to sort of go, oh, okay, what's it like to fully go into this, you know? But yeah, I can have a fallback where I'll try and take lots of action and do all this strategy and or spend 20K on ads and like, oh yeah, that will do, you know, that's what someone said to do, that will do. And then it's like every launch, it's like in the middle of it, I'm like, this isn't fucking working. Like, and then I'll go, all right, enough's enough. Like, and I'll do my truth and I'll get into my love. And then, you know, but the thing that I find really core is that you really need to find what the core wound or pain or like thing is, and then the core vision is. Because, for instance, like, again, in Bali, in my retreat, I was showing you ladies the straw and the potato. There's a magic trick where you can have a raw potato and a raw sweet potato and put a like little flimsy straw right through it through the use of the imagining and power of magic, right? And I was showing you guys, and normally I get it straight through, but because it was live in front of you, I couldn't do it. And I was like sitting there, I had like 10 goes, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I like? And I just was thinking, I was trying to do the process, trying to do truth and love and wisdom. And I was like, these girls have come all the way to Bali, spent all this money with me. I'm sitting here trying to show. And
I don't think it was 10 goes, babe. I think it was like a couple, but you're like a bit hard on yourself.
So many. But what happened is, like, I was trying to do the truth, and what I saw was like, what is at the core here, Miranda? What are you really afraid of? Like, what is really getting triggered here? Not just the superficial shit. What's the core? And the core was the shadow of the alchemist, which is it's bullshit and it's snake oil and it's not true, you know? And I'm just sitting here selling a lie to you ladies, and you've come here, and I felt so ashamed of that, right? So I had to expose that. And then I went into the vision of like, no, this is a powerful demonstration for these women. It's going to be transformative. I see the vision of the potato, you know, and it threw. And then I went and just stuck it through, and it went straight through. The second I saw the core of what I was afraid of and the core of what I really wanted for you, you know, then it worked. Before that, it wasn't, because I was getting around stuff, but it wasn't the deep seated fear, because that was leaking my power away.
Yeah, and then that was really frustrating for me because I couldn't get it, but I got it when I got home. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not everyone knew it was around me.
Brings up our stuff. Yeah.
Oh, totally, totally.
Mm.
So one of the things that you said, like way back earlier, which I was like, oh, I'm going to come back around to that, was around our beliefs. And so
Yes.
I'm really challenged by what you said.
Yes. Yeah.
because because you're like, we can't change our beliefs, but I feel that we can.
Yeah.
So I guess I understand the perspective of where you're coming from, that so much of our beliefs are helping us know who we are, right? Like,
Yeah. They're our orientation. It's the way
yeah.
our conscious orientates to the world.
But I also feel that as we're evolving, in the sense, even doing this work, right? If we're identifying the core of something, and then we're also focusing on our soul's desire and our heart, wouldn't our beliefs also naturally shift and alter?
This is a massive one, right? Because so many modalities like teach this, talk about it. Like, and you know, I've done 12-hour breakthrough things that are like meant to shift my beliefs.
Yeah, like that's part of what I teach.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you know, so this is, I guess, the perspective I get through the superconscious is that we can change our opinions, but we can't change our core beliefs. This is my premise, and this is what I understand from like all the different things I've learned. And the fact is, like, I have a worth core belief and feeling an issue and around worth and my worth and how worthy I am or unworthy I am. And it doesn't matter what work I've done on it. Like, it surfaces all the flipping time. It gets triggered all the time. Like, I've done opious amounts of work, and it evolves. I'm at a higher level. I'm at level 10 of it now, not level 1, you know, but it's still there. The same flavor, the same story, the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because that is my orientation to the world, you know, same as if a scorpion attacked me when I was a child, and then, you know, like my unconscious is like, do not go near scorpions, they can kill you. Like, it's not going to let me let go of that because it's trying to protect me and save me, right? Now,
Or even the other way around, like, sorry to interrupt, but the other way around, like, as a scorpion, knowing it's a scorpion and that it also needs to be afraid of something bigger. And if it is under threat, it knows, you know, I need to do X, Y, Z. I need to like hit them with my tail, etc. Right? Yeah.
Survival. Like, and the thing is like the unconscious ego, it's not trying to hurt us. It's actually trying to help us and protect us and keep and make sure that doesn't happen again or whatever, right? So the thing is, like, I don't actually, to create what I want, I don't actually have to change my worth stuff. I don't have to change the beliefs. I don't, because it's actually just putting more, you know, that wolf analogy of like the dark wolf, the light wolf, like which one are you feeding? If I try and change it and do all this shit, like it's actually feeding it and I'm making it bigger and stronger. And I don't actually need that. I just need to see that this is what's playing out. This is my inner child freaking out about this. This is my little old story. This is my past. This is my time capsule I've set myself in, and I'm perpetuating whatever. Like, I just have to see it and be aware. As soon as it becomes conscious, it doesn't have power anymore. It doesn't play out anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And then I can go put power into like what I want, whatever. So the awesome thing I love about the superconscious is I actually don't have to spend a lot of time changing this and feeling that. And it's like I see it, I notice it, I release that, and then I put back my power into what I want, who, you know, and what I see as my true identity is, you know, and I don't identify. I think the thing is when we try and change all of it and spend all this time is that we actually identify and think that is us, and it's not, you know. So it is a contentious one, and it's one that, yeah, a lot of modalities teach differently, but for me, that's actually freed up a lot of energy to help me create what I do versus where I was before.
Well, I actually 100% agree with you.
Mm.
When it comes to a core wound, a core belief, I mean, I've been teaching, NLP and timeline therapy and all of that for 12 years. And that always challenged me too, because a lot of the language around it is get rid of,
Mm.
eliminate, remove, etc.
Mm.
And the same for me, where I was like, well, isn't removed,
Yeah.
and
It would make me
my not good
depressed.
enough.
Yeah,
Hey?
it would make me depressed. Like because then I'd have this process and then a month later it would come up again. I'd be like,
Yeah, and then we think,
"Oh,
what's wrong with me, right?
yes,
Like, why is it still there? And that part of that, I truly don't support and agree with, and I do too. The same as yourself, have shifted my perspective around that, around those core identity
yeah,
pieces, right? They're ultimately our core identity wounds,
yeah,
default our identity that will, kick back into as a way of preservation and protection.
yeah,
And that we actually don't need to get rid of that, and we don't need to fix that.
no,
And that, yeah, that and I love what you spoke about, just really releasing the energy around it, because the more
mm,
energy we give either side. And I love to speak about, like, in the deconditioning process, within the work that I do with my clients, and is very much like that. Like, awareness is a really powerful deconditioning tool, and it's the simplest. And
mm, mm,
that's what you're talking about. If we bring awareness,
yeah.
and then we're no longer like putting energy into that. I kind of like to be like, well, it just is, right? It's just,
Well, again, it's like, what message is it getting, right? Like, because if I go, okay, if I love my son and I want him to change or transform, or like, but I go, get rid of that, Harriet, stop this, don't, it's like, what energy is he getting? Like, that part of us that just wants to be seen, witnessed, loved, but we're like, no, you must get rid of that, because that, you're not lovable if you have this. Like, let's get rid of it. You won't get money or business or partners if you have this. Like, it's like, it's a conditional thing.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
loving. It's not witnessing and presence, and it's resistance, and anything we resist persists, right? And so I found the more I resist, it's like the more I hated this thing about me, and the more and a lot of personal development, to be honest, like, and for me, for many years I was doing it, it was a self-hatred tool. It was like, I hate this part of me, I judge this, I don't like that, I want to make money to look good and feel better and be worthy, and then I need to change this in me to, it's like, it's actually deprecating, it's not
yeah,
love,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's where it made a massive difference to me. And this was a part of the superconscious, but actually other embodiment soul work that I did. And it's like, whatever we do, are we coming at it from the frequency of love, or are we coming at it from the frequency of fear? And so much of that, trying to get rid of this belief and whatever, so that then I can have my attachment of business and money and be worthy. And like, it's out of insecurity, it's out of ego, it's not love. And so anything that I did out of that, one, wouldn't really happen, or two, it would, but it would not last, or it wouldn't be fulfilling, and it would lead to shit, because it was built off lack, it was built off scarcity, it was built off conditions.
yeah,
The moment I started actually coming from love deeply and unconditionally, and the detachment, and that's when everything built sustainably, because I'm not creating a business and money because I need to be worthy. I'm creating it because I love it. I'm not doing this alchemy work or any person to change me to be lovable. I'm doing it because I love it. It's complete. I'm getting a mentor because I love it. I'm not doing, it was just such a different vibration.
yeah. That's been a big game changer for me as well, that shift. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
The
Yeah,
universe is like, it won't open the door until we learn that. And I have
yeah,
so many people and clients, like, they get blocked, they're blocked because ultimately they're attached to this business or money, or like, or whatever, to prove their worth. It's like the
yeah,
universe is a loving parent. It's not going to let us pass go and collect 200, like, if we are having that, right?
yeah.
It's not love.
No,
Same as my son wanting that. It's not love, right? So, yeah.
so beautiful. So, what does richness mean to you? Being rich.
For me, richness is like ultimately fulfillment. You know, I really think the quality of our experience of life in any given moment is whether we're rich or not. Because, like, a coach of mine said this to me, and I used to answer in a funny way, but said, like, would you rather be in the Maldives having a horrible time with the person that you're hating in the moment and having this big fight and conflict with your partner or whatever? Or would you rather, in this real beautiful luxe place, money everywhere? Or would you rather be in a dumpster but having the most beautiful, romantic, like, exquisite time with the person you love the most in the world? And it's like, And I used to be like the Maldives. Like I used
Yeah.
to
Yeah, of course. The ego's like, I'm going to be cheeky here.
it's like, I hate the smell of the rub. And he's like, no, no, no. Like if you were loving life in that moment,
Yeah.
like I really now I'm like, and I've been to places where I've had all this money and whatever, and it's been shit and I haven't been fulfilled. And, I know what that's felt like. And so for me, richness is the richness of the moment, the richness of the miracle of the present moment, and the memory you're creating, the love you're having. And I really do truly believe that if we are deeply fulfilled and deeply nourished as a person, we're really just being our true self and cutting the BS and dropping off facades. And like, I actually believe that then money and everything, every opportunity, like of richness of life and abundance of will come because we're on our highest creative frequency. So there is no way we won't magnetize everything else to us. Um, but yeah, ultimately richness is fulfillment in the moment is for me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think the other piece that comes up with that is like that freedom of choice and options. And, like to me, wealth and abundance has always meant like just the freeness of choice, you know, um, for me to make decisions based on what my heart and soul wants, not what money and price tags are saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Well, your beautiful human design as a generator, some of the things that you shared about previously with that go-to, that kind of old thing that you could go back to, and that's a very typical generator kind of response, right? Just do more, do.
Mm.
And the other thing I wanted to just highlight also in your chart, which is really beautiful, where you've got the defined head and you've got the defined ajna, which is very, very special, right? Like your ideas, your ability to help people get the answers is definitely something that's a gift, and I believe will come very naturally for you. But gate 26 being your conscious sun, which is such a it's one of my favorite gates, actually, is the taming power of the great. And it's really about selling a brighter future, selling and also doing it through a place of integrity. And I love looking, being able to see within your chart some of the things that really line up and just ring true. And not only this, so because this energy, when it's in the highest expression, is really the energy to champion other people for their dreams and help them have their dreams come true. And as I look at you, I feel like that's what you're doing. You're just really in alignment with that. And it's trusting in the abundance of life, and it's empowering others to move towards this future that they desire, for fulfilling on their dreams and doing it from a place of integrity. And that's just like so you.
Yes.
And then and that conscious sun is 70% of our energy. And then on the other side is the unconscious sun, which is a lot around how other people perceive us. It is still like a really important part of our energy because it makes up our incarnation cross, which in the gene keys is the activation sequence or the genius sequence. And this too is all about leadership and money and well-being. And it's like you're destined, babe, to be, like really, like it's the power, money and power, that whole piece. But again, it's done from this place of service to friends, family, community. And I've seen you do that, like being able to really give back to your family and make a difference through those small things that actually mean a lot, right? With our parents and so forth. And so I just wanted to kind of, bring a little piece through of the power of how our chart just doesn't lie. It's like when you come into your higher self, you tap into your superconscious and you follow your true nature. It's like what's in your human design chart will just play out. Like you don't even need to try hard to do it. You just think the blend of like your work and there's like for me, it just is such magic, and it just shows the power of it all synergistically.
Yeah. It's so awesome. I love it. Like I love, whenever you tell me anything about human design, Han, and just anything I hear about gene keys or astrology, it's like it's so confirming because it's like, I do this and I follow it intuitively and then it's like, oh, awesome. Like that's actually, what I should be doing also, because I love like miracles and I love witnessing it with others. It's just like so exciting. And such champion of them and of their dreams and abundance. And like you said, even just the sharing that then with my family and like people and like communities, like, I have such a heart to help women who are struggling, just change it around for their community, their family. It's just so cool when it's in a chart as well. I love it.
I know it is. It's that incredible affirmation and confirmation that we already knew. Actually, we don't really need it, but it's we do love external, validation of
Yeah, and
things
it
as
directs
human
our
beings.
focus. It can help. I
It
know it's
does, yeah.
me, like, direct it more and go, okay, cool. Yeah, this is my lane. I don't need to go. So I'm over there.
Yeah, and I feel like it's that thing of what you're talking about. If people haven't allowed themselves to dream or haven't allowed themselves to really focus on what they do great because they spend so much time down in what's not working and what they're not great at, it pulls them forward. It's like this is pulling you forward into the highest expression of actually who you are, like your truest nature. You don't even need to try to be this. This is you.
Yeah.
So that's the magic of that, which I adore. And just
Mm.
one final question, well, one final thing, if you have any just little other words of wisdom or final piece of advice you'd love to give a
I
beautiful
think
woman.
for me, the most powerful tool that I've ever used, and it's really transformed things for me, and, like, I guess summarizes alchemy. There's lots of tools, but the core one that I come back to all the time is just a pivoting tool, which really is like, sit in the circle of truth of just what's coming up for you, what are your fears, what's all on your mind, what are you upset about, whatever, and let whatever emotion come out, or just go wherever it is. And as women, we love, like, we talk like spaghetti. We love connecting just random stuff all everywhere. It's like, just let yourself be witness, just express it. Like, I often do it out loud, or you can write it, whatever. Sit in a circle of truth. Just what's the current reality? What's up for you right now? And then go, okay. And, like, but we'll sit in the circle of your vision, and a vision of you, the vision of your life, the vision of the future. Like, and, Joe Dispenza talks about, creating's about taking the energy out of the memory of the past and putting it into the imagination of the future. And for me, that month that changed in my whole life, if I'm going to summarize it into something, it's like taking the energy out of my past and my memories and my patterns, and, like, and putting it into my imagination of what I wanted, you know? Um, that would be my imparting wisdom, and what I think for me has changed everything.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, hon. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. I'm excited to hear what everyone's taken out of today. Please check out the show notes and go and follow and connect with Miranda and see what she's up to and go deeper into her world. And so grateful for all of you continuing to be here and tuning in. And we'll see you on the next episode.